Have you ever felt that life changes in the blink of an eye? That one small decision, one unexpected conversation, or even one random thought seems to shift the entire direction of your reality. We often imagine transformation as a big dramatic moment, a thunderclap from the universe that turns everything upside down. But the truth is much quieter, far more subtle. Reality does not usually announce its turning points with fireworks. It whispers them, in the micro moments most of us overlook. And it is in those micro moments that quantum jumps truly happen. Imagine waking up tomorrow and feeling different, lighter, calmer, more certain. Nothing obvious has changed, and yet everything feels new. Your interactions with others take on a softness. Opportunities seem to appear where before there were only dead ends. You are no longer fighting life, you are flowing with it. This is not just a nice idea, not just a motivational fantasy. This is the nature of reality itself. The reality you experience is not fixed, it is fluid, and it shifts every time you do. Think of your current life as a snapshot of your internal state. Every belief, every fear, every dream you hold inside is reflected back to you through your circumstances. When you change your state, even slightly, you begin to tune into a new version of life that already exists. It is like changing the channel on a television. The other channels were always there, you just weren't tuned to them. And the moment you shift, the picture changes instantly. The most fascinating part is that these shifts rarely require massive external action. They begin with the smallest choices, the tiniest inner shifts, the decision to breathe before reacting, the thought that maybe you are worthy after all, the moment you choose hope instead of fear. We tend to dismiss these micro moments as too small to matter, but they are where the entire trajectory of your life is being decided. Pause for a moment and think about today. How many moments did you spend on autopilot? The way you brushed your teeth, scrolled on your phone, answered a message, reacted to a colleague, looked at yourself in the mirror. Each of those moments was an opportunity to choose a slightly different version of you. Most of the time we don't notice. We repeat the same reactions, the same thoughts, the same emotions, and therefore, we recreate the same reality again and again. But what if you became just a little more awake in those moments? What if, instead of reacting the same way, you took a breath and asked yourself, what reality do I want to step into right now? Suddenly, you are no longer trapped in the old loop. You are standing at a crossroads, aware that a new timeline is available. This is the beginning of quantum jumping, not as some distant mystical event, but as a living, breathing process that happens every single day. And yes, there will be resistance. Your old self will cling to what is familiar. The mind will tell you that nothing has changed, that this is just how things are. But the moment you decide to shift, truly decide, you create a ripple that reality must respond to. It might start small, a new thought, a new feeling, a tiny coincidence, but those ripples grow. The micro moment of choice becomes the seed of an entirely new life. In this video, we will explore how to recognize those moments, how to break the invisible loop that keeps you stuck, and how to consciously step into the reality that is waiting for you. This is not just about thinking positively or wishing for a better future. It is about understanding how reality itself works and how to align yourself with the version of you who already has what you desire. I want you to stay open as you listen. Notice the sensations in your body. Notice how certain words or ideas make you feel excited, nervous, skeptical, inspired. That is your inner guidance responding. It is telling you where your next micro jump might be hiding. Perhaps today is the day you stop living as the old version of yourself and start stepping into the life that has been calling you all along. If we are going to understand why these micro moments hold so much power, we have to look at both the science and the spirituality behind them. Because what we are talking about is not just an abstract idea, it is how reality actually operates. Quantum physics has been telling us for decades that the universe is not as solid as it appears. Everything you see around you, everything you touch, is made of energy vibrating at different frequencies. When scientists zoom into the tiniest particles, electrons, quarks, even the so-called building blocks of atoms, they discover that these particles are not fixed objects. They are probabilities, waves of potential waiting to collapse into a definite state. This means that at its deepest level, reality is not a single fixed thing. It is a field of possibilities. In every moment, countless versions of reality exist side by side. A version where you take that leap of faith, a version where you stay the same, a version where you speak your truth, a version where you stay silent. You are constantly choosing which version you will experience, whether you realize it or not. The choice happens in the now, in the space between one thought and the next. That is the quantum micro moment, the smallest point of power where you collapse possibility into actuality. Spiritual traditions have always known this, even before we had the language of quantum mechanics. The mystics, sages, and teachers of every culture have pointed to the power of the present moment. They called it presence, mindfulness, prayer, stillness. They taught that heaven and enlightenment are not faraway destinations, but realities we can access now, if we become aware. The great spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle calls this the power of now, while ancient yogis referred to it as the timeless space of consciousness that holds infinite potential. When you think about it, this is a remarkable intersection between science and spirituality. Quantum physics tells us that reality is a wave of potential that becomes a particle when observed. Spirituality tells us that your awareness is the key to transformation, that the world you see is shaped by the state of consciousness you bring to it. Put these together, and you begin to realize your attention is what collapses reality into form. The way you focus your mind, the way you feel in your heart, is literally determining which version of life you experience. This is why living on autopilot keeps you stuck. When you are unaware, you keep choosing the same version of reality over and over. You react the same way, you think the same thoughts, you run the same emotional programs, and the universe simply mirrors that back to you. It is not that life is against you, it is that life is faithful to you. It keeps showing you what you are choosing, until you choose something new. There is a beautiful metaphor in quantum mechanics, called the observer effect. It says that the act of observing something changes it. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. The moment you truly look at yourself, you become more conscious of how you stand, how you look, what expression you are wearing. The act of looking creates awareness, and awareness creates possibility. The same thing happens in life. The moment you notice your patterns, really notice them, you have already begun to shift them. But here is where the contrast becomes so powerful. Most people live in what we might call the default reality. This is the reality created by unconscious choices, by old beliefs, by fear. It is a reality of repetition, where yesterday looks like today and tomorrow looks like yesterday. It feels predictable, but also heavy, limiting, even suffocating. You know this reality. It is the one where you wake up and feel like nothing ever changes, no matter how much you wish it would. Now imagine the alternative. Imagine stepping into a version of yourself who is fully awake in the micro moment. This version of you notices the thoughts arising and chooses which ones to keep. This version of you feels the fear, but does not let it dictate the next action. This version of you is curious, aware, deliberate, and therefore powerful. In this state, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You are co-creating with reality. You are selecting, moment by moment, which potential becomes real. And yes, this takes practice. It takes slowing down enough to notice what is really happening inside you. It takes courage to sit with uncomfortable feelings instead of running from them. But it also brings incredible freedom, because once you realize that reality is not fixed, you stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to change. You realize that you are the chooser, you are the observer, you are the one collapsing the wave into the particle. So the next time you catch yourself saying this is just how things are, pause, notice that thought, notice that feeling. Ask yourself, is this really the reality I want to choose right now? Because you can choose differently, and when you do, the entire universe reorganizes around that choice. It may not look like much in the beginning. It may just be a softer tone in your voice, a little more patience with yourself, a quiet moment of gratitude. But those are not small things. They are the seeds of a completely different life. In the coming section, we will look at why so many people struggle to make these shifts and what invisible patterns are keeping them locked into their old reality. Because once you can see the loop clearly, you can step out of it, and that is where the real magic begins. If the micro-moment is the place where reality shifts, then why do so many of us keep ending up in the same place? Why do we have the same arguments, attract the same kind of people, face the same financial struggles, or find ourselves back in the same emotional state no matter how many times we promise ourselves that this time will be different? The truth is that most of us are living inside what I call the old reality loop, a self-reinforcing cycle of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that keeps us tuned to the same version of life. The old reality loop is not a punishment. It is simply the result of unconscious repetition. From childhood, we are programmed by our experiences, by our caregivers, by society. We learn who we think we are, what we believe we deserve, and how the world works. These programs settle deep into the subconscious mind and run automatically, like software. And because the subconscious runs about 95% of our daily life, it quietly recreates the same conditions again and again, without us even noticing. Think about it. When you wake up in the morning, do you immediately feel the same emotions you felt yesterday? Maybe it's stress, maybe it's excitement, maybe it's worry. Those emotions are signals that your body is already tuning into the familiar chemical cocktail of the past. Then you think the same thoughts about your to-do list, about that person who annoyed you, about the bills, and those thoughts create more of the same emotions. Before you even get out of bed, you are already broadcasting the same frequency you did yesterday. This is why change feels so hard. You are not just fighting against a single thought or a single habit. You are moving against an entire identity, an entire energetic momentum that wants to keep you the same. The old reality loop is seductive because it feels safe. Even if you do not like it, it is familiar, and the mind loves familiarity. It tells you, stay here, this is who you are, this is what is normal. But normal is not the same as aligned. Normal is simply what is repeated. If you want to experience a new reality, you have to be willing to become a new version of yourself, not someday, but in the very next moment. And this begins with awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. So, the first step is to notice the loop. Notice how your day seems to run itself. Notice the moments where you are triggered and respond automatically. Notice the storylines that play in your head over and over. I'm not good enough. This never works out for me. People always let me down. These stories are not just words, they are frequencies. They are tuning forks, calling in more experiences to match them. The second step is to interrupt the pattern. This does not mean forcing yourself to be positive or pretending you feel something you don't. It means pausing long enough to choose differently. That pause is the most powerful moment of your day because it is where you take back your creative power. Instead of sending out the same signal, you create space for a new one. Here is where contrast can become your teacher. Every time you feel triggered, every time you feel fear or anger or hopelessness, that feeling is not there to punish you. It is there to wake you up. It is saying, look closely. You are about to choose the old timeline again. Do you want to? If you can see it, you can choose differently. Imagine your old self as a loop you have been walking in for years, a circle worn into the ground by your own footsteps. You know every curve, every corner. You can almost walk it with your eyes closed. Now imagine stepping out of that circle. At first it feels disorienting, even scary. The ground feels uneven. The landscape is new, but it is also full of possibility. You are no longer trapped in a single path. Some people call this stepping into the unknown. And yes, the unknown can feel terrifying, but the unknown is also where your new life exists. If you want a different reality, you must go where you have not gone before, in your thoughts, in your actions, in your emotions. The loop will try to pull you back. It will whisper that nothing is really changing, that it is safer to stay the same. And this is where courage comes in. Courage is not about erasing fear. Courage is feeling fear and moving anyway. Every time you choose a new thought, every time you take a new action, every time you allow yourself to feel a higher emotion, like gratitude or love, when you used to feel anger or shame, you are breaking the loop. And the more you do it, the weaker the old loop becomes. This is why micro moments matter so much. The loop does not break through one grand gesture. It breaks through 1,000 small choices, repeated with intention. It breaks when you notice yourself about to spiral into the same argument, and instead take a deep breath. It breaks when you catch yourself doubting your worth, and replace that thought with one that affirms who you truly are. It breaks when you feel fear, and still take the next step toward your dream. And here is something beautiful. As you break the loop, life responds. You start seeing synchronicities, those strange little coincidences that seem too perfect to ignore. You meet new people, get unexpected opportunities, receive insights you could not have thought of before. It is as if reality is saying, yes, I see you, I see that you are choosing differently. Let me show you what else is possible, but you must keep choosing. The loop will not vanish overnight. It will try to pull you back when you are tired, when you are stressed, when you are not paying attention. That is okay. This is not about perfection. It is about persistence. Every time you return to awareness, you strengthen the new reality. As we move forward, we will go beyond simply noticing and breaking the old patterns. We will step into the exciting part, consciously building the new timeline, the new you, the new life. Because breaking free is only half the journey. The other half is choosing what comes next, and that is where the quantum jump truly begins. Now that you can see the old reality loop and understand how it has been shaping your life, it is time to step into something new. This is the moment where awareness becomes action, where possibility becomes embodiment, because seeing the loop is powerful, but it is not enough to just watch it. You must consciously choose a new reality, and you must choose it again and again until it becomes your new normal. This is what it means to step into the quantum jump. First, understand that a quantum jump is not a single dramatic leap that happens once in your life. It is not waiting for the perfect day, the perfect alignment of circumstances, or some cosmic permission slip from the universe. A quantum jump is a process of aligning with your highest potential in the smallest decisions you make, moment by moment. Each micro moment is a portal, a doorway, into a new timeline. The key is learning to recognize that doorway and to step through it with intention. Begin with your awareness. The simplest, most powerful practice you can adopt is to pause. Just pause. When you notice yourself about to repeat an old pattern, a reactive comment, a self-sabotaging habit, a thought of unworthiness, stop for a single breath. Feel the breath enter your body. This one act is like placing your hand on the doorknob of a new reality. You have interrupted the loop and created space for choice. In that space, ask yourself, who do I want to be right now? What would the highest version of me do in this exact moment? You do not have to see the entire path ahead. You just have to choose the next step that feels most aligned. Maybe that means speaking with kindness instead of defensiveness. Maybe it means sending that message you have been afraid to send. Maybe it means closing your eyes and choosing calm when fear is screaming for attention. Visualization can be a powerful ally here. Take a few moments each day to picture the version of yourself who is already living the reality you desire. See what they wear, how they walk, how they speak, what their energy feels like. Notice the emotions they carry: confidence, peace, gratitude. Then bring just one of those qualities into your present moment. Embody it now, even before you see any evidence in your outer world. This is how you shift your frequency so that life can mirror it back to you. Another technique is what I call future self-anchoring. The next time you feel fear or doubt, close your eyes and imagine the version of you who has already overcome this challenge. How do they feel about this moment? What wisdom would they give you? If you listen carefully, you will feel the answer arise in your body. Perhaps as calm, perhaps as courage. Act from that place. You are literally borrowing the energy of your future self to change the present. Gratitude is another powerful micro-shift. Gratitude signals to the universe that you are aligned with abundance, that you are open to receiving more. Even in difficult moments, find one thing, just one, to be grateful for. It might be the fact that you are breathing, that you are aware, that you have the chance to choose again. Gratitude changes your emotional state in seconds, and that emotional shift changes what you are attracting. Of course, stepping into a quantum jump is not always comfortable. When you begin choosing differently, your nervous system might protest. It might feel unsafe to speak up, to slow down, to set a boundary, or to receive more than you are used to. This is why regulating your body is essential. Simple practices like deep breathing, grounding your feet on the earth, or placing your hand over your heart can signal safety to your nervous system. When the body feels safe, the mind can choose differently. You will know you are stepping into the quantum jump because life will begin to respond. You will notice synchronicities, repeating numbers, chance encounters, little winks from the universe that confirm you are on the right path. Opportunities may seem to appear out of nowhere, but in truth, they were always there. You were simply not tuned to them before. Now, by shifting your state, you are aligned with a new timeline where those opportunities can reach you. Remember, the quantum jump is not just about changing your outer reality, it is about becoming a new version of yourself. You are not just trying to get a new job, find a partner, or make more money. You are becoming the person for whom those realities are natural. And this is where the magic lies. Once you become that person internally, the external has no choice but to rearrange itself. But here is something important. Do not wait for the big results to feel successful. Celebrate every micro shift. Every time you choose calm instead of chaos, every time you choose love instead of fear, you are stepping further into the new timeline. These choices compound, they create momentum, and eventually, there will come a day when you look around and realize that the life you are living feels completely different, lighter, freer, more aligned, and you cannot even remember how it used to feel to be stuck. The quantum jump is not something you do once and then forget. It is a way of living. It is a practice of presence, of courage, of alignment, and the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. It stops feeling like work and starts feeling like who you truly are. In the final section, we will bring everything together. We will integrate what we have learned and remind ourselves that the power to shift reality is never somewhere out there. It is always here, in the next moment, waiting for you to choose it. And now we arrive at the most important realization of all. Everything we have explored, the science, the spirituality, the breaking of old loops, the stepping into the quantum jump, all comes down to this very moment. Not tomorrow, not next month, not after you fix yourself or figure everything out. Right now. This is your micro moment. This is where your power lives. Take a deep breath and feel the truth of that. Life is not waiting for the perfect day to change. It is responding to who you are being right now. Each breath, each thought, each emotion is a vote for the reality you want to experience. And yes, some moments will be harder than others. You may fall back into old patterns. You may forget, react, or feel small again. That is okay. What matters is that you remember you always get another chance. The very next moment is always another doorway. You do not need to wait for a lightning bolt of inspiration or a dramatic life event. You do not need to wait for someone else to change first. You can choose right now to shift. You can choose right now to become the person who is ready to receive, to grow, to live the life that has been waiting for you all along. So as we close, I want you to see yourself standing at the edge of a new reality. You can almost feel it. The lighter energy, the new opportunities, the version of you who feels fully alive. All that stands between you and that life is a single micro moment of decision. Step into it. Breathe into it. Choose differently, even if just by 1 degree, and then do it again and again until the old version of you no longer feels like home. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to take just one small action today. It could be as simple as pausing before you react to something, or writing down one belief you are ready to let go of, or saying yes to something that scares you but feels right. These small acts are not meaningless. They are the very building blocks of your new reality. This is your quantum jump. This is your moment. And as you take it, know that life will meet you halfway. The universe has been waiting for you to choose. Now is the time to step into the reality that has been calling you all along.